What is up, YouTube? Welcome to Panfro Games, and I'm doing my very first Pokemon Unite tier list, and this is before the Blastoise release and after the very first patch, so I'm very excited to dive in. I've played over 400 games of Pokemon Unite, and I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on the current meta and what's actually good, what's not too great, and just, from my personal thoughts and feelings of being an attacker and defender main overall. And I do have to say that Talonflame and Wigglytuff did get some big buffs, while there's been some pretty big nerfs to Cinderace, Gengar, and Machamp that happened. So that definitely does shake up my opinions a bit. So we're going to go in order of Speedster, Attacker, Support, All-Rounder, and Defender. So I'm going to go starting off with Absol, and I'm going to throw Absol right into the A tier. So Absol actually did get buffed in the last patch. It got buffed into two moves that no one actually really used. So this actually is just a great buff in general for Absol because now there's more build diversity with this Pokemon and it doesn't negatively affect it at all. This still has prior movesets very good, still ran in Masters play. And this is a Pokemon that can get ahead really early and can stay ahead. Has the best early game dueling ability, so it can 1v1 any Pokemon it would like. And it's really good in the entire early and mid game. It does fall off a bit in late game, and it does have an issue in team fights where it can easily get targeted down and destroyed. It doesn't have a good way to actually escape. It does have an ult that can hit multiple Pokemon. However, if you don't have that ult in the team fight, you might as well get assassinated pretty much immediately because they're going to target you down immediately, and that ult saves you, makes you invincible while you're doing it. So definitely want to keep that in mind when you're playing Absol, but I think this is a phenomenal Pokemon. It's really good, really fast. I've seen some success in lane, but I wouldn't recommend running in lane as this is a pure jungle Pokemon. But personally, I really love this Pokemon. So we have Gengar here, and man, I think Gengar is a really good Pokemon. It did get nerfed with its Hex. Hex used to be crazy. It used to be the most broken character in the game, honestly. It was totally brain dead. This was a Pokemon where you just spam Hex. Literally, I would have played this Pokemon. Mash X, I'm not even pointing in direction, and he is just hitting targets and killing them. I'm like, okay. And so now they remove some of the invincibility frames from Hex, which makes him a bit worse. However, they did buff the Shadow Ball Dream Eater combo. So we do have some more build diversity with Gengar, which I think is overall healthy for the game. But he does fall off a little bit, in my opinion, from being a totally broken champion to being a he's still really strong. And I think right now, I'm going to put him in. This is hard because I need an A+ tier. I'm going to put him in S. I'm going to put him in S right now, but the bottom of S tier. He's really good, but there are other options you can run in the jungle lane. But Hex still does crazy damage. He still has really good ganks. This is a Pokemon that I am afraid of. He is really good at taking targets too. His ult's incredibly strong. They just made him more fair, but he's still an incredibly strong Pokemon. The only issue of Gengar, his main weakness is levels 1 through 8. Like, he just needs to get to level 9 to evolve. When he's a Ghastly, he's really pathetic. I don't think he's a great laner, honestly. I mean, I've seen success, but you might as well just go into the jungle with him because Ghastly is really awful. Haunter has a lot of good burst damage, but very low HP. But you do have the Hex ability at that point, so you are starting to get some big damage off. And once you're a Haunter, your ganks are a lot better as well. So the other Speedster here, Talonflame, we actually got a big buff. Before, I would honestly put him in C tier. I think now Talonflame is relegated to B tier. So he goes up 1 in my head. I love Talonflame. I love this Pokemon in general as a design perspective. Like, he's very cool. I love his outfit that you get the pilot one if you hit the gacha. And he does a lot more damage now. He has a lot more speed going for him. I think the issue of Talonflame is he just doesn't do as much crazy damage as the other characters. Like, they did buff his damage quite a bit, but it's still not as insane. His dueling isn't great. What I do like about Talonflame is that his laning is a lot better because of the buffs. So I think it is valid to run Talonflame in lane. I do want to explore that more personally, but I do think there are better options if you want to run the jungler role. But I won't be upset if I see a good Talonflame because Talonflame is fun to play. I think Fly and Brave Bird are both solid moves. I think Brave Bird is better. You just do more damage. Fly is better for like an escape tool. However, I just don't consider him as threatening as a Gengar or an Absol when I'm facing the other team. I play more aggressive when I see a Talonflame because I know Once I catch that Talonflame, he's pretty much done. And for the most part, with like especially with Gengar, I'm terrified the entire time. He can come in easily into a fight and destroy me, and I may not be able to hit him because he's using Hex. And Absol has incredible 1v1 burst damage and has a crazy ult too. And I just don't think Talonflame has that, and I think Talonflame is a bit harder to play than these other characters. And now going to our very last speedster is Zera Aura, and man, Zera Aura, I'm gonna put into, ooh, I grabbed the wrong thing. I'm gonna put into the A rank. I think Zera Aura is a really good Pokemon. He is good from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. They did nerf his ultimate, which needed it. I think he honestly was an S tier Pokemon before, because his ultimate just did insane damage. They did They did upgrade one of his other moves, which was Wild Charge, which I haven't really seen other people run. However, I think it's cool that Zera Aura does have a potential option. And what I like about Zera Aura is, like I said, he can play lane, he can be top, bottom, or he can do jungle. He's very successful in all of these. Very similar to Absol, as he can pretty much find a Pokemon and outduel him. Absol does beat Zera Aura in a duel until Zera Aura hits level 8. And then once you get Discharge going, this is a crazy Pokemon. Especially with its ability where you're just doing more damage, you're just recovering HP as well of your items. And this Pokemon just cannot be stopped once it goes off. And it's just one of the best team fight Pokemon. The ultimate's crazy. Discharge is just letting you do your auto attack while you're just doing AoE damage around you. And he has a great way to enter combat with both his dash moves, which is Spark and Volt Switch. And Volt Switch is crazy. The fact that you can just enter into combat and just return to where you just were is pretty awesome. And then Spark is great for just great distance, going to different objectives quickly, and it lets you hop through the battlefield. And of course, this entire time you can be running Discharge on you, doing AoE damage around you. So completely crazy Pokemon. Very easy to use too. I think that's why I would rank him so high at A tier, because he is just so easy to use, pretty brain dead overall, and everyone has him. So you're always going to be seeing a lot of Zera Aura from every tier. And I honestly, I think he's a cool Pokemon design wise as well. I don't think he's good as Absol, but he's pretty good overall. And then we have the attackers. So there's a lot of attackers in this game. They are all squishy, ranged attackers actually, for the most part. Besides Greninja is the only one who has a physical attribute to him, in the sense that he has a physical melee move, but there are some physical attackers as well for stat wise. So starting with Alolan Ninetales, honestly, straight up S tier. This Pokemon is incredible. So as I said, these are attackers. The Alolan Ninetales is really the best attacking support. Aurora Veil is crazy. It is such a crazy ability. It increases your attack speed damage, your just attack speed for your team if you're in the circle. Also increases your movement speed. It's incredible. Teaming this up with like a Cinderace or like a Greninja, someone who can really use the attack speed increase, absolutely crazy. And Dazzling Gleam, having this a great lane support, stunning, and then protecting your teammate by using Aurora Veil and being extra aggressive, and such a great passive with freezing the opponent too. And freezing opponents is so strong. It's just a stun. This ability is a built-in stun, and then you have another stun, which is awesome. And let alone, you still have the offensive build. If you're interested in that, you can do the Avalanche Blizzard build, which is a bit harder to play, but it's very good. You can just do massive burst damage to opponents if you get them in the combo. But honestly, the support build ends up just being better, because in a competitive game like this, if you can make your other teammates better at what they're already doing well, then you're probably going to win the game. And Ninetales is crazy. Also, really powerful ult, especially if you can do a Dazzling Gleam, get a couple freezes, then immediately hit ult. You're going to do massive damage and may even wipe a team out. All right, so we got Cinderace here, who got a pretty big nerf. He lost like raw attack damage, got a nerf to his his kick move, and he got a buff to a Pyro Ball. However, as a Cinderace main, he is still S tier. Straight up, they made him more fair. This is very similar to Gengar, where Cinderace was, like, if you play other MOBAs, he was an ADC. He was straight up a League of Legends ADC, and no other character in this game could do what Cinderace was doing with a crazy attack speed, massive damage. I mean, and the kick move was so crazy because you can just be invincible while you're doing it, and you get an auto crit when you hit them, and you probably have one of the best, if not the best, ultimate in the game, where it's just the bicycle kick is crazy. It just homes in on an enemy and does a massive damage. You can use this to snipe Dreadnought and Zapdos as well. You're really fast already. You have big attack range, and your attack speed is so good. And it's still good. The thing is, they just made them more fair. Everything I'm saying is still valid to this day. The big difference to me personally is they made Pyro Ball a better move, and I think it's worth experimenting with. I actually originally was a big fan of Pyro Ball when it was nerfed, and I'm still using it now. I just depends on the match situation. But Cinderace is just a crazy Pokemon. Also, great pirate skin. I'm glad they added that for him. But I think Alolan Ninetales does rank up a little bit higher than Cinderace in the terms of support for the overall team. But I think Cinderace is like a must-have. So they're sort of tied to me. It's like, it's interesting because you don't necessarily need Alolan Ninetales, but I think Alolan Ninetales, what they provide to the team, is so much more valuable than Cinderace overall. Because I think there is a valuable replacement you can have for Cinderace. So we'll get into that in a moment. All right, now we got Cramorant. So now we got Cramorant. And Cramorant, I'm going to be running in the A tier slot. So Cramorant, another special attacking monster. One of the best early games. Whirlpool is crazy damage in early lane. Such an aggressive Pokemon in lane. Great ability by shooting the Arrokudas and the Pikachu. And this ultimate terrifies me. The issue with Cramorant, I feel, is this Pokemon does not do as crazy damage as someone like Cinderace or like a Greninja. And I think they are pretty high skilled overall. So I think there is an area of entry to be as good as possible with Cramorant as someone. It's easier to be good at Cinderace than Cramorant. So I just say might as well just run Cinderace unless you want to do a Cramorant, have a really strong early game in Cramorant, because that's where Cramorant really picks up. Is like your early game is super good. You're like 1 to 6 is really good, and then you start falling off towards the end of the game. You just become more of a squishy target, and you're still a threat because that ultimate's crazy. But I'm not as afraid as someone like a Cinderace or a Greninja or like a Gengar, honestly. But incredible Pokemon still. It's definitely like a higher skill cap character. And this Pokemon did get a buff and a nerf. They nerfed the Whirlpool a bit, but they did also buff Dive. So I'm interested in seeing what Cramorants will be using with Dive. But personally, I haven't seen too many Cramorants online since the patch. And then we got Pikachu. And I am going... And then we got Pikachu, and I'm going to be running Pikachu in the B tier. So this Pokemon, I just made a video on. This Pokemon is pretty good. It is a novice Pokemon. It's very baby. It's easy to pick up and play and use. However, this Pokemon falls off incredibly hard, and I think its Unite move is very lackluster and weak. I think Pikachu does really good damage with Electro Ball. However, I feel like Volt Tackle doesn't do a lot of damage, and I feel like Pikachu overall doesn't do enough damage and has, it doesn't score fast enough. Pikachu, doesn't have the fastest movement speed either. He's just an all-around character, honestly. He's a very squishy range special attacker who does have good damage, but in this game, it's sort of easy to close the distance on Pokemon that are kiting, and Pikachu, just, if he gets caught once, it's over, and no one's going to really respect Pikachu just because they don't have this crazy burst damage besides Electro Ball. But Electro Ball is only going to really have that damage if they're already low on HP, which is a great finisher. It's an execute. And if you don't have the Unite move, I'm going to jump on a Pikachu whenever I can. And I have no respect for this Pokemon. So honestly, I think it's a solid B tier. I think it's very easy to use. I think it's a great way to get into the video game. But I think as you play the game more and more, you're going to start to see how pretty much almost every other attacker is better than it. And then we get to Greninja. And, dude, this is the biggest... If you watch my streams, I used to dumpster on Greninja. And the more and more I play this game, the more and more I see Greninja doing incredible things. And then I'm like, I should play Greninja. And then I started playing Greninja and I made a guide video. And this Pokemon is crazy. This Pokemon is crazy. Honestly, is it better than Cinderace? Oh, I don't know. This is tough. Honestly, all three of these are tied. These three are tied. I'm going to put that there. They're super good. But yeah, Greninja is really good. And I forgot to mention, like, Cinderace can also jungle as well, by the way. Cinderace is very versatile in that regard. But yeah, Greninja, top, bottom, jungle, got all of that down. Greninja does crazy damage. The best thing about Greninja is it has two different playstyles built in to the ranged and the up and close assassin. And the up and close assassin third auto attack is an execute. It's so crazy good. And has two moves, Water Shuriken and Surf. Personally, Surf is like crazy. Surf auto, if you get a kill with Surf, it auto refreshes, and when you hit with Surf, you gain HP back. So this just lets Greninja go into combat, do his execute auto attack, then hit him with his Surf to finish him off. Then it's like, well, that's one Pokemon down. Then I'm just gonna keep doing this over and over and over again. And Greninja is definitely the Pokemon I see the most pentakills with at this point. It used to be Cinderace and Gengar. Now it is definitely Greninja and oh, you know what? Let's adjust this. I'm gonna do this. That's my new adjustment. I know. I'm just like thinking about it as I go. Greninja, so good. It's just he does have like a weak early game, but if you jungle with him, that doesn't exist because by the time you gank, you're gonna be a Frogadier, so you're good. So your only weakness is your early game lane, and once you hit level 5, you'll be fine. And then level 7, you're an absolute assassin. I will say though, he is one of the harder champs to play in the game. I think, you know, if you put enough time in this character, you'll obviously learn him, but he's definitely a character where you need to be counting your auto attacks, which you want to have the boosted attack thing on. And he's definitely one of those characters where you need to use your ultimate in a smart way, because the ultimate isn't just so, oh, I'm going to hit the button, oh, I win. Like, you have to aim it, and then you have the option of jumping on it and jumping off of the ultimate. But it does crazy damage. It does damage on the way to its location, then it does damage on the explosion. And he's just really fast and really good at scoring as well. So Greninja is one of the best backdoor characters, and I'm really starting to love this Pokemon, and I do want to get a lot better of him, and I highly respect Greninja players at this point. All right, so we got Venusaur. Oh, man. People are going to hate me for this. Dude, I really think Venusaur C tier. I think he is the most average character still in the game, even after all those crazy buffs he got for Sludge Bomb and the 1 second buff for Solar Beam. He's a little bit bugged right now still with Petal Dance. There's a couple of bugs going on Venusaur, so it makes it awkward testing with him, some of his other moves. But here's my thing. Solar Beam is incredible. I will say that is why you use this Pokemon. It is an incredible move. You can do a lot of snipes. I respect it. There is high points. You know what? This is probably a C+ tier. You know what? Let's make this a C+ tier, because he is definitely there. He's almost there. Its Solar Beam is so good, but I feel like Bulbasaur's laning is awful. I feel like he is just a character that if you catch him, he's done. It's like if Pikachu wanted to keep you at range, but Pikachu could not move. This is Venusaur. Venusaur cannot just move. This is a very slow character. This is a character that if you get pounced on in this game, you're done. And there's a lot of characters that pounce on you in this game. And he doesn't have any way of stunning. He doesn't have any sort of crowd control. He just has high burst damage, which is mostly Solar Beam. And yeah, it's like a 10-second cooldown when you get it. But you also got to aim it. And there is some extras. Like, it is a highly skilled move where you do have to aim it. It does go off screen, which is awesome. So it does allow cool steal potential with Dreadnought and Zapdos or killing enemies off screen. Highly respect it. I totally get it. But he just feels weak the entire time unless you are one level higher than your opponents. But the thing is, I could say that about any character. If any character is one level higher than their opponents, there's just going to be a better character. So that's honestly just how I feel about Venusaur. You know, don't hate me on it. I do want to make a guide on him, but currently right now in the state of the meta, I just don't think he's one of the stronger characters in the game. And going into our next attacker, Gardevoir, that's an easy A. And honestly, I want to organize this better. I'm going to put Gardevoir there. I think Gardevoir is an awesome champion. I think they do insane damage. When Gardevoir hits level 10, this Pokemon will destroy you. Completely will destroy you. Psyshock is a nuclear blast. And even at level 6 with Corellia, Psyshock does crazy damage. This Pokemon's problem is you need to become level 6 to become a real Pokemon. And then when you're level 10, you're a god. So that is Gardevoir's only issue, is leveling. But if you are, if you lane properly, if you do your objectives, you can score some points. It's not the hardest thing to level up ever. It's just, if you're good at the game, you'll be able to level up Gardevoir at a good pace. And Gardevoir is crazy at objectives. This is an artillery mage. This Pokemon has a stun. This Pokemon has a Psyshock move that can just hit you 3 times in a big AoE, which can completely destroy teams. Goes so well for other Pokemon that provide crowd control, because then Gardevoir can just nuke that spot and win fights. And Gardevoir's ult is one of the best ults in the game, if not one of the best, completely like top 3 in my opinion. Just sets up a blast that sucks up everyone in the area, all the enemies in the area, and then does massive damage. And they're all in one spot, so your whole team can just nuke them while this is happening. And it is such a great way to win a team fight, especially towards the end of the game, especially when you're doing a Zapdos objective. It's just so crazy. Like, you can steal Dreadnought and Zapdos with this move as well. It's just a nutty Pokemon. Same with Psyshock, just a nutty move. I love Gardevoir. This is a great Pokemon, man. It's phenomenal. I really makes me excited for the next DLC character. So Mr. Mime, I'm gonna put into B tier. Mr. Mime is a Pokemon. It's the weakest support. It is honestly the weakest support because it provides the least amount of crowd control. And when I want to have a support Pokemon, I want crowd control. This Mr. Mime plays like a weird, like sort of like a defender, but I'm just not a big fan of it. Not like the highest HP pool. Not like Wigglytuff. Like what? In terms of defenses, Wigglytuff is better, right? If you want walls, like Snorlax is there too to provide a block if you would like that. I mean, Mr. Mime, he does a lot of damage for sure. He can definitely nuke you. If he hits you into a wall, you're pretty much done. You get that stun. So like there is the crowd control, but you do need to set it up. It's not like you just walk up, hit a button. Oh, they're like asleep. Oh, they're knocked up. There is some extra steps to it, which means there is a higher chance of you messing up the move. And honestly, his ult's good, but it's not the greatest. I mean, most of the time when Mr. Mime's destroying you, make sure to check the level, because he's usually a level or 2 higher than you at that point. And at that point, anyone can do that to you. But I do think the massive amount of burst damage he can do is crazy. And he does have some great synergy going with Snorlax, because he can use Snorlax's block as an option. And Snorlax is used on every single team. So that is like a very viable option for Mr. Mime. And I don't know. I feel like B. I don't want to say C+. I feel like he is definitely better than average, and even, average plus. I want to put him in that B tier because I feel like the amount of damage he does is pretty good. Barrier shenanigans is always fun. You can do a lot of fun and crazy things with barrier. So I feel like Mr. Mime's going to be really bad in a player who hasn't played him too much. But if you master Mr. Mime, there's a high skill cap to him. So that's why I put him in B tier. I definitely respect the Mr. Mime hustle. And then Wiggly, I'm going to put into A tier. I'm going to put Wiggly. Ooh. I'm going to put the Wiggly. I'll put Wiggly here. Wiggly's insane, dude. They literally gave her like a 300% buff to her defense and special defense and her like HP stats. They completely reworked this Pokemon in terms of defenses. Like, Wigglytuff does not... I mean, you cannot just burst down Wigglytuff. Before, you could use to just destroy it. It used to be absolutely frail, which was like... It was like as frail as an attacker, like a Pikachu. Didn't make any sense. But yeah, Wigglytuff is just absolutely crazy in early game and late game. It's honestly like such a crazy support in the sense that this Pokemon can just run up to you in early game, put you to sleep, and murder you with double slap. Straight up murder you with its slap move. I think it's so crazy how much damage this Pokemon can do. And it hits so many times, it's actually pretty useful for stealing objectives like Dreadnought and Zapdos, because you can put a team to sleep and just slap up the objective real quick. Or while they're doing it, just run up and slap it. And because you're doing constant hits for like a good like 3-4 seconds. You can actually steal it if you time it right. It's pretty nutty. And yeah, this Pokemon has a lot of fun moves on it. Like rollout is pretty crazy. It's maybe not the best, but it is a very high skill cap move. But you can stun Pokemon into walls by running into them. You can put these Pokemon to a sleep. It has a pretty solid ultimate too, even though it's a little bit bugged right now. Hopefully they patch it. I just respect that this Pokemon can run in, hit a button, put a whole team to sleep if if they group up together, and then just do crazy damage to them while they're asleep. And of course the damage falls off towards the end game, but in that early and mid game it's so strong, and then by the late game you're still useful. You're sort of like a mini Snorlax in a way. It's sort of weird. It's like if Snorlax was running Yawn, Wigglytuff's like a mini version of Snorlax, and Wigglytuff actually has more HP than Snorlax right now. So it's sort of crazy what happened here. And then our last support is Eldegoss, and I'm gonna put Eldegoss in A tier. So they nerfed Eldegoss a good amount on this healing. Eldegoss, in my opinion, used to be S tier, but this Pokemon's still crazy. The shields are crazy. The big thing about Eldegoss is the fact that the crazy combo is you can put shields on your opponent, on your Pokemon, right? On your team. And if they have a score shield on, the score shield will not be broken because they have the Eldegoss shield. So they gotta break through the Eldegoss shield and then the score shield. So if you're using something like a Lucario can already provide themselves their own shield, then this is just a crazy Pokemon to score with. Has pretty good laning too because you do have the heal, and the ultimate's pretty solid as well. I mean the shields are crazy just for a team fight. Like you can just pop your ult, have Buddy Berry on, just give everyone some shields because you're gonna be super defensive, and then give everyone else more shields too. So the whole team is just shield up. You can be healing people, and then you can do like some minor damage, and your damage actually isn't too bad on Eldegoss. So I really respect it. It's honestly tied with Wigglytuff here. I think it's pretty solid. I'm going to make a new tier. We're going to make a new list right here. New category. New one. We're going to make a new one because we're doing this live. B+. Let's do this B+. I think this is pretty solid for a B+. And yeah, S is just going to be A+ for now. All right, so Garchomp. Garchomp is, man, honestly, it's like B or B+. I feel like if I put Garchomp as B+, I have to put Talonflame as B+. I'm going to have to do that then. All right, so Garchomp B+. So here's the issue with Garchomp. This is a Pokemon that is completely useless until it's Gabite, and even then, it is not that great, but Garchomp late game is pretty nutty. You know what? Actually, now that I say that, I'm going to put you in B tier, because I respect Garchomp's hustle of doing massive damage, having great ultimate and everything, taking a lot of hits, doing crazy things, but Gibble's literally the worst Pokemon in the entire game. Like, literally the worst Pokemon. It cannot get any worse than Gibble. And Gabite does have cool tech with the dive move and able to sweep opponents into whatever direction Gabite wants to take them in. Pretty actually crazy tech. But that early game is so unforgivable. You can jungle, but it's like, why would you jungle? You could use someone else. You could, and laning with this Pokemon is so useless. You're going to use lane. So it just feels bad. But the pop-off is so hype and real towards the end game. You just got to survive a really bad, shitty early game to make it to the late game and to be a complete menace. But even then, it could be too late and you could be losing the game. So it's just not, honestly, oh man, the more I talk about Garchomp, we're going to put him at the bottom of B. He's going to go to the bottom of B now. I just can't. If I keep talking about Garchomp, he's going to have to enter the C+ tier. So Charizard got some buffs. And these Charizard buffs are pretty crazy. So I'm going to put Charizard at the bottom of B+. He used to be the worst character of Venusaur, but the buffs to all his moves like Fire Punch and Fire Blast and Flamethrower and all that good stuff has really made him a solid character. Charmander has a really good early game lane because his basic attack is super good with the Flamethrower going on. It's honestly great. Or I think it's Ember. It's super good. Charizard's ultimate is fantastic overall. It just does pretty solid. I mean, it does actually really good damage, and he can't really be taken out of it. And the Seismic Toss at the end pretty much just assassinates an enemy for free. So I think he's pretty solid overall. I've seen him jungle a bunch now, which I sort of respect. He has some pretty solid ganks as Charmeleon, diving in with Fire Punch. So props to Charizard. I'm glad he grew up. Lucario's best character in the game. So, okay, Lucario is easily the best character in the game. He literally has a built-in smite with Power Up Punch. He can be in top, bottom, or jungle. He can snipe Zapdos or Dreadnought for free with Power Up Punch. His Power Up Punch is an execute, but while he's doing his execute, like his attack does more damage the longer he holds it for, and he takes less damage the longer he holds it for. This Pokemon has a built-in shield, and he has the Bone Throw move where you can just hit someone with it, teleport to it, and assassinate them. Third auto attack is just crazy on this guy. And he's just so overtuned. Like, there's not a phase in this game where he's bad. He can pretty much beat every single Pokemon in the game. If he is one level above you, he can easily get a pentakill, like, straight up. His ultimate is probably the worst part about him, but his ultimate at least gives him, like, shields, and it's super good. And he's one of the best scoring Pokemon. He's definitely a Pokemon you could put a score shield on because he does have a built-in shield. So because of this built-in shield, the score shield will proc after his first shield's broken. So he's pretty much can score crazy amounts of points on you, especially in the late game where it's the most valuable. Absolutely a complete beast of a Pokemon. All right, so we got Machamp, and Machamp definitely got nerfed, but he is going to belong in the A tier still. So they nerfed his Cross Chop, which was his best move, and they buffed Dynamic Punch or Close Combat a little bit. It did hurt his playstyle a lot, but however, he is a terrifying jungler. This Pokemon is so good at just running up to you with submission and just ruining your entire day. And he can do that in lane as well and not even care. So he does have a weak early game as Machop, but the moment he's Machoke, it's crazy. And then when he's level 9 in the champ, well, you hope he doesn't catch you because he has all the hindrance removal with submission. His ultimate just, if he touches you, you're pretty much dead. And your whole point in combat against him is to outlast them until his hindrances go away, or his buff, his shield against hindrances go away, because he will just keep on coming. He'll hunt you down. And now to our defenders. So low A tier Slowbro. I'm a bit biased. I'm gonna put Slowbro. Honestly, I'm gonna put him here. Slowbro is like my main in the game, so I love him. I think Surf's an incredible move. I think it's one of the strongest crowd control move. Like, definitely top 3. It's a nasty move. Does actually pretty good damage, and Amnesia is really strong. People are sleeping on Amnesia, but it adds so much sustain to Slowbro's game. If you want to go a bulky attacker, Slowbro of Amnesia is really solid for helping in team fights. You won't do too much more damage, but it does let you recover some HP from Amnesia from your Oblivious damage. It does let you take more damage overall because it increases your defense, and Surf does more damage. Telekinesis is also a great move as well. I mean, it's honestly probably the better move than Amnesia, let's be real. But, you know, in solo queue, I've run Amnesia. But Telekinesis is phenomenal. Lets you just isolate a character if you hit the skill shot. And you can even pull them towards you. And hopefully you're in the middle of your team, and then your team can just assassinate them. So, highly respect Slowbro. I think he should be higher in people's tier list. Second best character in the entire game is Snorlax. Snorlax has the best crowd control in the entire game. Best early game as any top or bottom lane of Pokemon, straight up. He is the best. If I'm laning as like a Cinderace or a Greninja, I want Snorlax in my lane every single time. Snorlax tackles so good. His early game sustains crazy. He just doesn't die. He has rest. He has Gluttony to take those berries in to double the restoration. And he has a knockup. And then, honestly, Heavy Slam's crazy. Just is a dash knockup that does a lot of damage, can be used as execute, can snipe Zapdos and Dreadnought pretty easily. It honestly happens about every 4 or 5 games I play now, whereas Snorlax will snipe an objective. It's so nutty. And his ultimate means he just doesn't die. He gets a second life. He just regens all his HP. And against people who don't know, he will just do massive damage to them because you can't attack him while he's doing it because you're just getting damaged and he is just regenerating all that health either way. And then he can proc it again in the middle of it to flip over and even do more damage for less health regen. But if he wants to go for an assassinate, he can do that. So this is a crazy Pokemon. Of course, Block is like the best crowd control move straight up. It's just an absolute nutty move. You can use X speed with it to remove the speed hindrance you give yourself. So you just go super fast. You can just run a whole team into a wall Like, and it just, if you touch a Pokemon, it just bounces off and gets stunned for a second. And you can just make that happen for like 5 seconds. So sort of crazy. And then even Yawn is so good because there's a skill shot, put the sleep move for like 3 seconds, and then you can also attack as Snorlax still. And this can hit multiple Pokemon, so absolutely crazy. And last but certainly not least is a Crusty Boy. And I'm going to put Crustal in the low B+ tier. Crustal, very good defender, very fun. Shell Smash extras are very fun. Actually has a solid early game. The issue with Crustal is his crowd control is not great. A lot of people aren't great with the walls, and I mean, the walls are not too great. If you miss, it can the wall is such a risk if you mess it up and trap your teammate. And even if you land the wall, a lot of Pokemon have a dash or they'll use eject button to get out of there. So it's like, it's pretty solid, but I think Shell Smash and X Scissors overall the better moveset to make him like a really fast bruiser and gives him the ability to backdoor pretty easily. But overall, if you just want a better defender who can stay in a fight longer, I think Slowbro or Snorlax is really good. I will say Crustal's ultimate is incredible. It gives him a second life as well, but is not as good as HP regen from Snorlax. It is a tons of armor, but you know, Snorlax is pure HP regen, and his knockup, and he doesn't really have a knockup. X Scissor is like, if you miss, you're committed to the move. If you hit him, yeah, you're stunned for a while, you did damage, but I'd rather have something like Surf from Slowbro or Heavy Slam from Snorlax. Well, guys, there you have it. There's my tier list for Pokemon Unite pre-Blastoise patch. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time with more Pokemon Unite action. Peace out.